For most of the day, I let them run free. They're as free as I am on the farm. I think the chickens here live a great life. I can tell not only from the flavor of the meat and the quality of their eggs, but in just their sense of well-being. And these are very happy chickens. My dominant chicken, of course, is Moon Rooster, who rules the roost, literally. Moon Rooster seems to mainly be interested in protecting his flock. If there's a strange sound, they'll look to him and look to the sound. He's a signal bearer for danger. He keeps track of every hen all day long. He seems to be most vigorous, perhaps like some of us, in the morning, and he will start courting some of the hens, scraping and strutting around them, and then leap on them, and mate with them. So Moon Rooster is the one who's both father figure and also lover, I guess.
The rooster's main call is he makes a crow sound, which is most of the time he flaps his chest before he crows. The main ritual he has is the mating dance, and how he gets a hen to come over is he lures her by making a sound when he finds a piece of grain or something. And then the hen will come running in, and she's picking up the grain or whatever, and then he does a dance around her by putting one wing down and one leg up, and it's... And at that point, they either mate or the hen will run from him. And then if he mates with her, afterwards it's...
It sounded like a train wreck. It sounded like small children being choked.
They kind of sound like they're tearing their guts out.
Long fingernails going on a blackboard.
You find yourself walking around with your fists clenched and your body clenched.
It was with us all the time. We could not get away from it. It's when you're washing the dishes, it's when you're sleeping, it's when you're talking to friends, it's when you're taking a walk.
And you go, oh, it's the noise in the background. It's the roosters.
It started 4 years ago, and the Webbs had moved in approximately November, and in February they started erecting these structures. I knew what they were. They were getting ready to raise fighting cocks. And so 3 months later, 25 roosters arrived, and it started.
The noise was just a constant din, starting at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And it would go on till about 7 or 8 at night and start back up again in the morning.
There was never a time where it was completely silent. I can remember during a rainstorm at 3 o'clock in the morning, you still would hear a lone rooster crow. They just never stopped.
It's something that one can't maybe clearly identify what the sound is, but it's just an extremely annoying sound overall. You know, something that basically almost hits you emotionally.
It was like Chinese water torture. It was like having little drips just falling on your forehead at regular intervals.
A rooster is not a beautiful songbird. Okay, it's when it yells, it's yelling for a mate. It's claiming territory. It wants to be heard. What the man who was raising the roosters heard was money. He heard gambling. What we heard was a sound of loss of our property value, a loss of our peace of quiet, just kind of a destruction of our home. The problem with the rooster noise was that it was foreground noise. So we set up wind chimes, we set up noise machines, we rigged fountains, we did all kinds of things to shift the rooster's noise to the background.
In the morning, I would immediately get annoyed. I'd just think, roosters, you know, why do I have to even think about roosters? I just got up and already I'm thinking about roosters. I don't want to think about roosters.
It made me angry. It made me angry that somebody could come into our nice neighborhood and think that we were so stupid that they were going to get away with something that was just, it blew my mind. It was obnoxious at 20 roosters, or at 20 huts. When it got to be 100 roosters, it was insane.
It's not something I could passively listen to. Things needed to be done. How am I going to get rid of these things? What's the plan? What are we going to do?
People talked about parachuting in poison and, letting minks loose over there and ferrets. Other people said, I'd just crawl over there with a gun and start taking them out one by one. I never really found out a whole lot about Bobby Wayne Webb. He's kind of a mysterious guy.
I enjoy raising roosters very much. To me, from raising that rooster from a little baby chick till it gets full grown, see what it turns out to be, it's like raising a kid to me, you know. I just love fooling them. It's a lot of care, a lot of hard work, if you want to have a real pretty rooster. The only time they crow is early in the morning at daybreak. That's because they're waking up. And in the evening, when they're going to sleep and I'm feeding them, they crow. That's when they mostly do all their crowing. I think it's a lovely sound myself.
Well, that crow is a challenge to all the other roosters in hearing distance. I'm here. I intend to stay here. And they ain't nobody can do anything about it. They've got two purposes in life, the way I see it. Their main purpose in life is to reproduce. And the other purpose they have in life is to kill another rooster. They just hate another rooster. That's the way they came out of the jungle in Asia. They don't get into skirmishes just for the fun of it. Every skirmish they get into is a life or death situation. One of them's going to walk away alive, and the other one's going to walk away dead.
Well, I'm quite a student of Eastern philosophies, and one of the books I've read was On the Art of War by Sun Tzu, a Japanese warlord, and he wrote this doctrine on how to defeat an enemy. Sun Tzu emphasized the need to get allies, that one-on-one you could not win. You needed 6-to-1, 10-to-1 in order to win. So I got allies. I got the neighbors, I got the county prosecutor, I got the newspaper.
You know, I just heard rumors saying I was in the mafia and all that stuff. Said I was cockfighting down here, and you know, they started them rumors by going around and telling all the neighbors, trying to get them to sign a complaint. When I moved here, you know, I talked to the zoning people and made sure everything was all right. And they said there'd be no problems. So I went to start raising the chickens. Next thing I knew, I was being sued.
First we tried to sue him through zoning. We lost in that endeavor.